The
All
real
right, here we
ball
go.
lovers are here.
What's that?
Said the real ball lovers are here.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Hey guys, I appreciate everyone who joined tonight. I know this is something that, first week we had, I don't know, 70 people, second week, 40 people, and now look at it, it's down to like 20 people. I appreciate y'all being on here. This is stuff that's way more important than you'll ever realize until you're able to actually watch these games and understand what's happening. I think I've heard it said across a few different training sessions this week. Like, I think it's very important to just watch more football in general. Just watch more football. You could be less athletic, less talented than someone, but if you understand the game better than someone else, then you have a better chance of being successful than them. So as we watch this stuff, kind of just try to take some things in and kind of try to understand what we're trying to get out of this. So we're watching, I want to start, we're watching, so we're going to go through the first we're going to go through the two first round quarterbacks we saw drafted in this year's NFL draft. We saw Jackson Dart drafted in the first round, and we saw Cam Ward drafted in the first round. So we're going to talk through a little bit of what we're seeing from them throughout the season. These are some of their bigger plays. So make sure we're just kind of keyed in on what I want to, when I'm asking about coverages, when I'm asking about personnel, formations, things like that. If you've been here in weeks past, like chime in on things that you think you've picked up from weeks past. Like we've seen that defenses like to disguise coverages. We've seen offenses get into a lot of 11 personnel. It's typically what we're seeing out of offenses. When I say 11 personnel, I mean one tight end, one running back, three receivers. So make sure we're kind of keying into that kind of stuff. So we'll start here. This is Ole Miss here, Jackson Dart. We're looking at this now. Something I want to talk about here is, as I know I've talked about it the last couple weeks, but when we look at this stuff, as a receiver, as a quarterback, we have to understand what we're seeing out of the defense. We see the corner over here. We see this corner over here. They are about 15 yards off the ball almost, and their bodies are turned inside. I, as a quarterback, am looking at these two corners, seeing their bodies tilted inside, and I'm saying, okay, they're in zone. No matter what here, we're thinking zone. We're not thinking man. We have two safeties over top. We have two corners. We're potentially thinking quarters, which is kind of this like I've talked about before, for those of you here before, quarters is kind of like this area covered, this middle area, this area, and then this area. You kind of like a cloud coverage there from those guys. So as we look at this, we're thinking maybe cover two. I'm thinking potentially like a quarters cover four, but again, you see some communication happening as they drop into this. They do drop into quarters. So what I mean by quarters is they have this four guy shell here. They have this four guy shell here. This is our quarters look. As we see the play develops, this safety is going to come down and cover underneath, and the corner's carrying this go route. So as they sort this out, these guys are making a call to each other over here, saying, if he comes to you, I'll take him. If he comes, they are making calls to each other, understanding like, if they come this way, I'm going to cover him. If they flip, I'm going to cover him. So as you can see, they this is kind of like switch verts, we almost call it, because they're both running like a little switch route here. As you can see, he takes outside leverage at the top of the screen here. He takes outside leverage. So the corner is going to carry him, and then the safety is going to drive down because he sees. I just want you to watch this safety here. As you see this guy, he knows that he's cutting across the middle. Watch the safety drive down and cover that up. But you have one-on-one coverage with the receiver out on top. Make those throws. Quarterbacks, any quarterbacks in here, as soon as you get to this point and you see this safety is flat-footed and he's coming downhill, Jackson Dart's staring at this safety right here. And he knows that he's coming downhill. Boom. Now I have one-on-one up top. I'm just going to let the ball rip.
Jack said it perfectly. This is Dagger. Yeah, like my team's been practicing that a lot this week, and I think that play is lethal if you do it right. It's all about spacing here, guys, right? Like we're trying to make this safety up here, make a decision. And you see Jackson Dart, his eyes are just square on the safety. He's not looking at his receivers. He's trying to see what he does and he's going to make his decision based on what the decision of the safety is, right? So if he starts to crash on this inside dig coming across, boom, that's an easy read. You see, he hasn't even gotten the ball out. Jackson Dart's got a cannon.
And guys, if this safety stays over top, he sees this linebacker in his peripheral, so he knows that like if this safety stays over top, he's probably coming to this side of the field now. He
Hmm.
has time where he's probably going to throw it, dump it out here to this little whip route that was ran right here. So as you can see, the tight end here runs a whip. If the safety stays over top, he's probably whipping out here. The biggest thing that you quarterbacks have to watch, like your eyes are going to sell it all. Like your eyes are one of your biggest weapons. So he's staring that safety down. That safety, he knows that like he's probably thinking, oh, he's about to drive on this dig route right here and just rip it in there. Safety commits, he lets the ball fly over top. Very nice. I think they're playing Furman, so it's obviously not the level of competition that they always see. But here we go. We
Can
have
anyone in the chat? Can anyone in the chat tell me which state Furman University is in it?
a
I
good
would
question.
love if somebody. I wonder if anybody knows that Furman University.
Don't Google it real quick.
It's in Alabama, isn't it?
I think so. All right. Getting into
Anyway, we'll
play.
keep going. Oh,
They can
Greenville,
keep
South Carolina.
South Carolina. That makes sense. So here you can see they're giving that same quarters look. So now we're thinking that the corner Jackson, if I'm Jackson Dart, I'm thinking, okay, I saw it earlier. This corner is probably carrying anything deep. But as you'll see, as we continue to watch all of these games, teams continuously disguise coverage. So this corner's dropping down to cover the flat. And this safety right here has to cover to the sideline. And as you can see, that's called a blown coverage because if you're cover three, this guy has all the way to the sideline. He's pedaling to the middle of the field. I talked about it last week, guys. This is that play shopping cart where this tight end right here is acting like he's going to block on a screen here. So this corner rips downfield because he's like shuffling at him, looking like he's going to block, fakes the block, and then he's wide open on the sideline. Touchdown.
Same thing, guys, with quarterbacks. Like his eyes are just on the corner right there. If he's able to get him to pump, that's such an easy read for him.
Yeah, it's simple. So again, communication here. You see this linebacker safety take a step down, and you already see Jackson Dart look to the sideline. Those are things where it's like he noticed that one step by this safety right here, and he's like, okay, he might be coming on a blitz. Let's check out of this. As you can see here at the bottom corner, this is what teams will do. They'll block their signal callers. So on the sideline, the other team's not able to just steal signals. So they make a new signal. Again, they drop into that. This is them. This is man. Again, I would think this is quarters, guys. This is like a good look by Furman here, where it's like I'm thinking this is quarters because I'm have these two corners with their bodies turned inside. But as they sort this out, you can see it just flips to man right away. And once you get one-on-one man, let the ball fly. Because Jackson Dart's reading this safety right here. You can see he's eyes over here first. He's looking at this read. Eyes adjust. He looks, you can see his eyes are right on this guy right here. He knows that this corner right here doesn't have any help on this post route, and he's just going to let that thing fly. All right, let me get into some Cam Ward. All right, Cam Ward against Florida here. What coverage do we think Florida's in the chat? We see walked up linebacker. We see four down linemen, safety, corners over here. What coverage do we think they're in? A lot of cover two. A lot of cover two.
Looks like that guy's manned up at the bottom, huh?
It does look like it. This is where you kind of look over here. If you're Cam Ward, you scan it. You see the quick snap. We get man. Actually, you know what? We get split coverage here. So they're manned up to this side of the field and they're in zone in this side of the field. So this is something, obviously, we don't do this in Flagstar, guys, but this is something you'll see where we call this split coverage, where they're manned up on this to the boundary here. Easier to cover man to the boundary, not a lot of field over here. They're zoned to the field. So he's going to play over top of this. He's going to play in this zone and he's covering anything to the flat. This safety right here, got to be able to come over here. Cam Ward, I mean, look at that throw. Right when his back's turned, he sees his back turned and he sees this safety that far away. I mean, look at the receiver when he lets the ball go out of his hands. The receiver's not even looking right now. We
It's a
talk about
rope.
guys, we talk about this. When you run corner routes, when you run out routes, digs, whatever you run, as soon as you make your break, that your head has to be turned because the ball is coming out like that. And you have to be able to make that play. Next up here, again, we're watching the coverage. Let me see in the chat what coverage we think this is. We got to be able to understand coverage. I promise you, as a wide receiver, if you know what coverage the defense is running, like especially in Flagstar, guys, I hit. Here's a little trick of the trade. Most of the coaches run the same thing, so we should be able to understand like if they're lined up like this, oh, they're probably in cover two. If I break my corner a little bit shorter than I normally do, then maybe I'll be open in this window. So just understand small things like that. We're thinking some cover three, maybe. I'm seeing a lot of cover three. I kind of like the cover three idea, thinking that these guys are kind of off coverage, but then you have this guy up here, so it's interesting. And they dropped into what? What did they drop into? What did they drop into? Who knows? I'm waiting. No, no, too wrong. Dropped into cover two. You got a safety over here. Safety over here. They dropped into cover two.
Then, guys, what is that? Does anyone know who this in between player is? What Coach Mick has been calling him over the last few weeks? Yeah, the one who his mic is masked around. I would love if somebody can remember the specific name he's been using for that player.
And again, this is not what everyone will call it, but this is what I've been saying. Something you'll find, Mike. It's an animal you'll find in the city.
The rat,
It's a
right?
rat. He's a rat. So our rat essentially. So I run a defense with my team where basically we'll have the linebacker drop into the middle of the field and he'll essentially be our rat, where it's like he is just watching anything that's over that area. And he's his eyes, he knows like, okay, I got that out cutting route. I'm gonna go with that. But these safeties, this safety obviously got cooked right here. Safeties always are deeper than the deepest. I say it too many times to my team. Safeties have to be deeper than the deepest. If you watch the ball get thrown, you will watch the ball get caught. And that's what happens to them right here. You get Cam Ward on a rollout. And I mean, that safety, there's no reason that safety shouldn't be carrying this route over top because he has this linebacker here. He has this fully covered over here. There's no reason he shouldn't be carrying that, especially with the quarterback rolling out. So he's late to carry it, and that's a heck of a throw. We'll watch it from the back view. I mean, that's why he was the first pick in the draft, guys. Look at this throw. That's very Patrick Mahomes-esque. All right. We'll flip back. No, we got Miami at home. We're looking again, we're thinking quarters. A lot of teams show quarters, but do they play quarters? And here, again, I talked about it last time. Like, I mean, this couldn't be any. Just watch the top of the screen here. Watch the communication between these two. They look like they're probably in a cover quarters look, but there's just complete miscommunication at the top of the screen. So as you can see, pre-snap, he's looking over, he doesn't know. This guy number 11, he's like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm looking, calling something. Can't tell if everyone gets on the same page. But as you can see, he comes up to cover this potential outside route, and he's asking this guy to cover the seam. And that is just never going to happen. So this doesn't really happen within our Flagstar ecosystem. We don't really have this in zone coverage where it's like he's probably calling, okay, switch, 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 which means if they switch, then we're going to cover that. And he
I
sees
feel like
here,
they just put him in a bad spot there.
yeah, he hesitates a little bit, and he's expecting the corner to be able to cover this route right here. And that's just not possible. So as you can see, watch right when the ball is caught. He's hands up, like, what is going on? Why did that just happen? All right. What coverage are we seeing in the chat? What coverage in the chat? In the chat, what do we got? What do we got in the chat?
Chat's dead right now. All right, there we go.
We got man, man, man. I'm thinking man as well. You know, I'm as if I'm Jackson Dart, this is as a quarterback. You're looking at this, guys. You're thinking middle of the field is open right now. The middle of the field's open. I know Coach Sam was a quarterback. He would, when you have your first read, you're thinking middle of the field, is it open or closed? I'm thinking the middle of the field's open, but I have eyes on this safety. As you can see, Jackson Dart has eyes on this safety right here. So, as you can see, play action, that safety commits downhill. We have play action as well throughout Flagstar, guys. That safety commits downhill on play action. He has one-on-one coverage up top. He's not looking at anything else. Nothing else he's looking at. One-on-one coverage, quarterbacks, you think you have a matchup. I try to tell my quarterbacks this too. Like, guys, if you have someone who you know is gonna, who you know can make a catch, like, give them a chance to make a catch, guys. Jackson Dart knows this person is gonna probably win this matchup. He doesn't even think twice. He just lets that thing fly. And it's a great catch. Again, we talked about it last week. Coach Sam talked about it. When you run these fade routes, he's breaking that fade. He's not pushing to the sideline immediately. I know our fields are a little bit more compact, a little smaller, but he's not pushing to the sideline immediately because he knows this ball can be thrown within the numbers and the sideline. So he's throwing that ball within the numbers and the sideline, giving the quarterback space. That's a good throw.
Oh, that quarterback's grass.
Quarterback's grass. All right, here we go. Thinking cover three, potentially man. It's a tough look here with three guys over top. As you can see, he's staring at this. He's looking at this way right over here. When the ball's snapped, obviously you see some teams do this. They, little hard count, trying to see if they adjust at all. Does anyone notice anything about the safety or the corner at the bottom of the screen? What does he do when he gets the snap or when he gets the fake count? So if we were thinking man before, what are we thinking now? What do we think in the chat? What do we think? If we're
Chat.
thinking man, what do we think now? We're thinking zone. Exactly. So we get zone here. I think this again is our split coverage look, guys. Actually, no, that's just cover three. He's dropping to deep third. He's dropping to a deep third. He's dropping to a deep third. And then this is your kind of your rat player over here. But again, you get one-on-one coverage. Cannon. Let it
It's
rip.
like a it's like
This
a
is
really deep sluggo from that outside guy.
guys, this is like
Turned it into a fade.
this is almost like Hawaii right here for some of you guys who understand this. Like they're essentially running Hawaii here, but this guy on the out and up rather than the sluggo, he's just converting at the chains here. So he's gonna stop right here. We call it a chains route. He's gonna stop. He causes this corner to hesitate for only a second, and then the ball is delivered over top. Very good throw. All right, one more, and then we're gonna jump into something else. We see motion in, we see a formation change. I'm thinking potentially man here, guys. I'm thinking man. Not sure. We see a little bit of a blitz. Yeah, we get a blitz. We're thinking man with a blitz over top. So, man here. We have these guys over the quarterback. Obviously, no one's watching him, so I think that's where our issue is going to come. But instead, if you guys are on man coverage here, this is just a tough play right here. Sometimes you just get tripped up.
Safety's got to. I mean,
I mean, this safety
got
deeper
caught
than the
got caught
defense.
looking at the guy in front of him.
This is what I talk about. I just said it. If you watch the ball get thrown, you're probably going to watch the ball get caught. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We got a few more minutes here. We'll jump into some Ohio State.
I know some of you guys hate that Ohio State film.
No, no, no. You know, see this? Is this full screen, Sam?
Yep.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about Ohio State defense for the last about 10 minutes here. I think what's cool about Ohio State's defense, they had the number one defense in the country last year. I think what's cool about them, guys, is the amount that they disguise coverage. I think that as a defense, Ohio State was never, teams playing against them were never able to understand what they were in throughout the whole game. And that's why they limited their opponents to the least amount of points, yards, everything throughout the season. So as you look at this, and if anyone's a Penn State fan here, you have Jim Knowles now, so enjoy. This is good stuff. But as you see this, we see the quarterback, he's looking, he's potentially thinking cover two. If I was him, I was thinking split coverage probably. I'm thinking they're probably manned on this tight end out here, and then they're running zone to the field. We see the linebacker is creeping up. We see a safety creeping up. Eyes out here. Safety, you don't know if he's man. As they bring the blitz, guys, they're dropping into man, or they're dropping into kind of like a, like I said, split coverage. So they're playing zone over here, and then they're manning it up on this side. You got Sonny Styles coming off the edge here. And if you're able to get unblocked to the quarterback that quickly, you're probably going to make a play. All right, now we got a quarters-ish look. Again, these guys are not the corner at the top of your screen and the bottom of your screen. The bottom of your screen, he's a little more pointed inside, so we're thinking potentially zone to this side. We're not sure. He's playing pretty far off, but could he be manned up? He could. And again, we get into man here. So this is like that disguised look that Ohio State gives you. So he's just simply manned up on this receiver out here. He's simply manned up here. And then this safety right here is manned up on this corner right here. Or no, I mean this linebacker, I mean. Or he's a safety, but he's walked down. But this safety is walked down, he's manned up. And then this is your rat, this is your free safety right here. So as you can see, we talked about this a bit. Your rat here, although he may be playing coverage in the middle of the field, once he senses run, he has to be immediately downhill getting in on the play. Obviously, he's not in on the play because you have Jack Sawyer at the bottom of the screen just making this running back or whoever that is look silly. I think that's a tight end. He just makes a miss, makes a play. But if you're that rat position, you're coming down. So if you're ever in a position in Flagstar where you guys are playing middle of the field, if you see run, you have to just go make a play. He's not wasting any time getting down in there making a play. All right. Now, again, kind of a similar quarters-ish look. Not really sure what they're running. Again, they dropped this guy down. It looks like split coverage on my end. As you can see, he's manned here. They're dropping this defensive end into coverage to guard this. They have a safety over here, and they're kind of playing coverage over here all around. This is third down, guys. This is a big play right here. As you can see, watch just like once the ball is like you can see that he starts driving like now. We kind of when I coached at Georgetown, guys, we talked about it and like you guys can like take this to Flagstar level as well. When you see the quarterback looking around, once his front shoulder gets high in a certain direction, he's gonna let the ball rip that direction. He's gonna keep pretty base shoulders until he's looking around. Once that front shoulder gets high a certain direction and you have your eyes on that, you can break on that because you know the ball's probably coming out at that moment. Because before that, a quarterback's probably just settle, shoulders looking around. Once that front shoulder comes up, he's letting the ball rip. So as you get into your games this weekend, kind of like try to notice those small things where it's like, did the quarterback lift his front shoulder up and then let the ball rip? Because if you see that, then you know, okay, if I'm covering him, I see the front shoulder lift, and I can break on a route and try to make a play. So those are small things that you notice within a game. Again, you watch a lot of football, you start to understand these things. All right, this is fourth down here, guys. So either this is what you would as a college, because when I coached at Georgetown, we ran pretty much all of Ohio State's defense. I'm thinking Ohio State is in what we called short, which is essentially match coverage. So he's matched up here, he's matched up here, he's matched up here, he's matched up on this guy right here, this, and then they're just matched all across with safeties. So match coverage, you're pretty much expecting a ton. And as you can see, it's like Sonny Styles again, just that's Cody Simon right there in the middle. Cody Simon just stands him up. Fourth down stop. All right, we have time for a couple more. What do we think the coverage is here in the chat? In the cover chat, what do we think the coverage is? I see cover three. I see a shot for cover three. I like the idea of cover three. I'm thinking cover three too, but like I said, guys, remember Ohio State, one of the best teams in the country at disguising their coverage. So I'm thinking cover three too, but I could also be wrong. And it is cover two. We were all wrong. Obviously, it's a run, but as you can see, this guy is he's our rat. He's just on the quarterback. So his eyes are fully on the quarterback. He sees the pitch, he's running. That's Caleb Downs, best safety in the country. Running with him, drops into a cover two look. He also sees the pitch. Denzel Burke out here sees the pitch, so he knows that he has to come down and make a play. And then you just go get after the ball. We'll watch it from behind. But just watch this safety's eyes. Watch Caleb Downs, number two right here. Watch his eyes. He's just on the quarterback fully. He doesn't look at anything else. He sees him shifting. He knows he has the quarterback. He's running across the field, guys, when the ball's coming this way. I want us to all take a second to look at that. This is what it's called to like do your job. when we talk about just like do your responsibility, do your role, and good things will happen, this is exactly what we're talking about. Because if this quarterback keeps the ball here, guys, and he fakes it, there's no one out here to cover him. And he's just running down the sideline. So as you can see, that's covered up. It doesn't affect the play at all. But in the grand scheme of things, it really does because you see he's in the right position. You have all these guys in the right position. You have all of them fighting over top, and you have a linebacker free to make a tackle because he's one on one with a guard who cannot cover him.
And do you guys see how, and this directly relates, like, do you guys see how linebacker just squares up fully to the offensive guy? Like, he's not reaching for him. That's what I see a lot of times with flag star kids. Like, we try to pull flags, we reach, like, as they come around the side of us.
Look at this position.
We talk about getting big here. Like, you see how his legs get wide, arms out. Like, that's a lot more difficult from a running back's perspective to get around than somebody standing tall reaching. Right. So this directly relates to pulling flags in flag football.
Exactly. That's a great play. All right, we'll go to a new game real quick. Let's go to Penn State against the Nittany Lions. All right. We watched a little bit of Penn State last week, guys. We know that they like to use Tyler Warren in all types of positions. They threw 10 shovel passes to him last time we were watching. But this is kind of what I would call circle counter because they're running counter here. So what counter means is that the running back's going to fake. Let me get my drawing tool. The running back's going to fake like he's going this way and then hit it back this way. So as you can see, the tight end here, guys, is he's going to come across acting like he's going to go across and then he's going back. But Ohio State, they have people for each gap. So we talk about this in tackle. This really won't relate to us, guys, but like I think it's interesting. Like we know that Jack Sawyer right here is filling the C gap. We know that this person right here is filling the B gap, and we know that the linebacker has the A gap. So as you like run this play, there is nothing that Penn State can do to try to make this play work. If they potentially got on one of these guys, like if he say he went to number 7 here, then Jack Sawyer is just going to come down and make the tackle. So he has to block him. He has to block him because it's most dangerous man. And then he whiffs completely and he makes the play. So you see Ohio State get into these position, guys. It's interesting to watch. Like you know that this gap is covered. 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 All the running back could potentially do is cut it back through here. But at that point, you have someone in your face. We don't need that play. We don't need goal line stuff. Even though this was a goal line stand by the Buckeyes to win the football game. This is what I talked about earlier, guys. This is kind of that match coverage. They look for you see his eyes are immediately out to 44 here. He's manned up here. He's coming over top to help. They're just double teaming this right here. Nothing open. And that's the game, guys. That's 4th and goal line stand. Whenever you guys, I've noticed this with my team. I noticed this with some teams, but like when you guys get into these positions where you guys are in a goal line stand, don't think that the touchdown's just coming because these types of plays happens. You can go 3 plays in a row and shut them down and win a football game, exactly as Ohio State does here. And you can see the excitement from everyone across the board. Like, watch from behind. Just watch Caleb Downs. He's guarding. They're double teaming the tight end, running back, kind of double teaming here. The ball's thrown there, covered, and just look at like they know the moment right here. You can see everyone jumping. He's jumping around. They're all looking at the crowd. That's good stuff. All right, last one. This will be the last one. What coverage do we think they're in? This is kind of obvious. It seems obvious, but if we remember what I said about Ohio State, They like to disguise coverage. A lot of disguising coverage. See a lot of man. Let's get into it. Boom. Man. Exactly. You know, sometimes they'll just show man and run man. Simple as that. They like to disguise coverage. He's calling them out. He's thinking, oh, they got motion inside. Letting the safety know. And they're switching this. So what's interesting about this, guys, is you can see that they're not like sometimes you'll potentially see a switch, but just look at the spacing from the offense. Like the offense has good spacing here, but the quarterback just gets rushed quickly. Like if the quarterback doesn't get rushed quickly, he can deliver this for a first down right here,
Right at the sticks.
right at the sticks. So you see the pass rush matters because the offense runs a good, this is kind of what you call a rub concept or like a pick route. He's kind of picking number two, number seven from being there. They're kind of just running the defenders into each other, but you get good pressure. You got guys like Cody Simon, Jack Sawyer, JTT. All right, guys, with that'll be it. I appreciate y'all being out here. Like I said earlier, just make sure, like, when you guys join these things, like, it's important to understand what we're watching and making sure, like, just continue to learn more about the game, continue to learn more about the sport. I think, like I said at the beginning, if you understand the sport of football, you can get by people who are more athletic and more talented than you just by understanding what's going on and understanding how to be in the right spot. And it starts by watching more football and understanding more football.
Hey, that's great stuff. Everyone, let's give some more thank yous to Coach Mick in the chat. I'm going to stop the recording right here.